you go. We're off. Welcome to the Half a Dozen Hospitality Podcast, and good morning, Pauline Singer.
Good morning. Thanks for having me here, Brad.
No, God, my absolute pleasure. I say this to all my guests. They probably get, the listeners probably get a little bit bored of it, but I can't not say it. I'm a big believer that time is the most valuable thing that we all have. So I want to say thank you so much for giving yours to me in the podcast and the listeners. I truly appreciate it.
You're very welcome. We really appreciate you coming here and listening to our story too. So that's a big thing for us.
Like I was saying, as I was setting up, I'm excited to learn more. And so often, like it was just now when I was setting up, Pauline was just kind of off in the background doing some paperwork, kindly, patiently waiting for me to set up. And I'm so tempted, just because of who I am, is to like start a conversation. But then I always catch myself and I think, stop, because I want to save this stuff for the podcast. And for me, what this podcast is, and what I think for a lot of our guests, and maybe you can speak to this, is there's a bit of not unease, but as a guest on this podcast, you don't really know what it is. We don't really know where you're going, but that's what I love about it. That's what I want for it to be. I want for it to be, you and I have never met, so I want it to be like a true discovery conversation where I'm learning about you as personal as you want to get, but I also want to learn more about obviously what goes on here at the Cape Breton Farmers Market. And I just find when we do that, when it's not scripted or not, like I don't have this preconceived idea of what even goes on here. It allows for what I think to be like truly genuine conversation, which I know the listeners appreciate. I appreciate listening to that kind of media as well. So it's not scripted. You have no idea what's going to happen, but neither do I. That's kind of the fun thing. So stick along for the ride, guys. So for me, like I said, I don't know you from Eve. You don't know me from Adam. We've traded a few emails. That's about as far as it's gone so far. So help me and the listeners better understand these few things. Who you are. We kind of covered that, but who you are, what you do, and why you do what you do.
Okay. My name is Pauline Singer, and I'm the manager of the Cape Breton Farmers Market, which is where we are today. So my background, I kind of fell into this, actually. I moved to Cape Breton in 2001. I'm not from here.
Okay.
So I'm from Halifax. So I went the other way across the causeway.
Right.
And I got that comment a lot of times, you're moving where? I'm like, yeah. So I moved up here. My husband's from here.
Okay.
But I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
So I had to come into this community. And at that time, that was almost 20 years ago. So it was a lot different than it is today even.
Very different.
So I was kind of forced to get out of my comfort zone and go and meet people and do things that I might not have done if I was still living in Halifax around family and friends and people that have known you since you were a kid. So when I moved up here, I was in the insurance business. I was actually a claims adjuster.
Okay.
So I did that from home for a while, and then I also did it, I worked on the road, and then when I decided to have my kids, I stayed home, and we ended up buying a farm. So, again, had no farming background. I grew up in Spryfield, which is just outside Halifax.
Yeah, so, I know it, yeah. Not really a farm place.
No, it used to be hundreds of years ago.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But not now. So, bought the farm, and I decided, well, you know what? I want to stay home with my kids. I'm going to turn this into a business. So I did farming for a while, and that's how I got involved with the farmers market. At that time, it was over on Celtic Drive. So I was there as a vendor, selling the products that I grew on my farm in Cox Heath. And I was there probably for about a year and a half, and our manager left. She moved back out west, and we were just kind of left in limbo. So myself and another vendor decided to take on making sure the bills were paid and that,
like the bookkeeping,
the lights were still on, the non-glamorous stuff.
Right.
So we did that for a few years, and then eventually this kind of turned into a job for me. So I kind of got a little further away from farming. I still have the farm and I still do some stuff, but not to the volume that I was before. So my kind of interest right now is community gardens, working with kids. I go into the school, different schools with our, it's not a school board anymore, but our educational center. And we put in gardens in schools and encourage kids from primary, right up to high school about how their food is grown, what's involved in it.
So cool.
That kind of stuff. And I also do part-time work down at Bretonability. We didn't go back this year because of COVID, but I also work with residents down there. And I run the garden and greenhouse program. So we grow produce that's used on site in the kitchen at Bretonability, which is a long-term facility for adults with mental disabilities.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah. So this is how I kind of got into this. Why I do this? I think part of it is when I moved here, I saw opportunities that we have a lot of great people on this island, and sometimes you just almost need a facilitator to get that across. Like I have vendors here that I compare to anything that's in a gallery in Halifax.
Oh, for sure.
However, because we're on an island and we don't have the population base, like something that would sell here for, say $15, I mean, could easily get $25, $30 in Halifax without a blink of an eye.
Right.
So my goal is kind of, I know I'm kind of getting off topic.
Not at all.
But we're almost like a small business incubator here now in our market. So we've had several vendors that have left here and gone on to have brick and mortar businesses in our community.
Yeah.
And it's because of the start that they got here. And it wasn't because, there was incubator money for them to start their business, but this gave them a real true sense of what the market is here in Cape Breton and what they can achieve with that. So that's one of the goals that we have here. I'm not sure if that answered your question.
No,
I have a tendency to go off topic too.
No, trust me, I'll put a long tail on any kite that has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
So no, that was great. You articulated it very well. I now have a better understanding of who you are, what you do, and why you do what you do. That's something that I find really interesting in my week that I've been here and the conversations that I've had, and having been away for 15 years and having called Vancouver home. It was home, and it still is a part of me. And my kids were born there, and I started my business there, so very much will always be a part of my life. But I learned a lot when I was away, and I want to bring a lot of what I've learned back to those that are open to listening.
Yes.
And one thing that I'm challenged by is I feel like there is this story that we like perpetually tell ourselves here on the East Coast. And while there has been a lot of changes, and I want to hear more from you and what you think some of those changes have been in 15 years, especially here in Cape Breton while I've been away. But I feel like there is this hesitation to truly represent how beautiful, how special, how valuable, how unique, whatever the word is you want to use, what either the terroir produces here or what the actual people produce here.
Right.
So when you say something like something that sells here for $15 could sell for $25 in Halifax, I want to be like, I feel like what you're trying to be and help these businesses, the guys charge $25 and like plant that flag in the dirt, because this is world class. Do you know what I mean? Like, why is it okay for the team at Cabot Links and Cabot Cliffs to charge what they charge per round of golf there?
Exactly.
Because they know what they're providing is world class. And so much of what goes on in this part of the province, I'm learning now more so than ever, is world class. Like the amount of times I've used the word stunning, the amount of times I use the word awesome, the amount of times I've used world class is like, we need to represent that. Like we need to have a bit of a mindset shift.
We do. We have to value what we do up here. And that's the problem. It's kind of devalued. And someone once said to me, like, I work 3 jobs.
Right.
They're all part-time.
Right.
But if you took what my counterpart does in different areas of the province, I mean, we're so far behind, like as far as the value that's put on what's being done here. But, and someone said to me, that's the cost of living in Cape Breton. And I thought, why do we have to work so much harder?
Yeah, no.
And to get our worth valued or what we do valued. Like I said, you look around the store. I mean, this is top quality stuff.
Yeah.
And these are just people in our community. Like these aren't, I mean, we have a few artisans that are trained artisans, but most of this is just like
self-learned,
self-taught.
Yeah.
And, because I get tourists in here and they're like, really? That's all it is? And I'm like, yeah. And sometimes because we're kind of isolated. Now you compare with Cabot Links, a lot of their people are flying in. So our bread and butter right now is our local.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For everyone right now.
Everyone is local. Yeah. And this is our first year actually in a downtown location. So before, where we were located on Celtic Drive, is kind of an industrial park. So it wouldn't be something that a tourist would stumble across.
Right.
We were, kind of hidden. So now this kind of changed the game for us. So now we can showcase all this stuff and say, yeah, this look, this is what,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
This is
people in our
what we're
community are doing.
Yeah.
That, you know, they're either making their own job by
Yeah.
doing this, they're supplementing their pension. And we have other people here that this is like a starting point. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, this is where they want to kind of test the market.
Like they're planting the seeds.
They're planting seeds. And, you know, I've had a few vendors that some of them, like, I don't know if you've heard of Cape Breton and Neck of the Woods restaurant.
Yes, I've heard Neck of the Woods.
Yeah. So they just opened. So this is a couple that moved here. He has family ties in Gabarouse.
Which is what? Which is where?
So Gabarouse is probably like another 45 minutes from Sydney.
Gabarouse.
Gabarouse. It's beautiful.
Check it on a map, people.
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's a fishing village.
I reached out to them actually about coming on the show. I haven't heard back, but hey guys, hit me up.
They are flat out. Yeah, but
I'm sure,
they'd
yeah.
be great to talk to.
Yeah.
So they have moved here from BC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, came here to the market last summer, came and met me and said, listen, this is what our plan is. You know, we want to come in here and make bread just to kind of keep our income level up.
Yeah.
And I said, that's perfect. I said, this is where you're going to gain your customer base. Sorry, bang the table.
That's right.
So this is where you gain your customer base. I said, word of mouth is going to spread because in Gabarouse, this, you know, your locals are going to be your bread and butter.
Yeah.
Going out there. So they came with us last summer. He did a few
Like
demos of
pop-ups?
his
Yeah.
pop-ups of his cooking, which is phenomenal. And they were one of the businesses that were kind of in the process of getting ready to open when COVID hit.
Oh, okay.
So
Right.
we managed to keep them selling through different means here that I'll get into later. But that was, you know, they're now opening a restaurant
so
in
cool.
rural Cape Breton during the COVID crisis where everything's been shut down.
Yeah.
And it's locals that are keeping them in business. So that just shows you the support that we have here for local as well.
Yeah, but then like to your point is like we need to have people like you and maybe shows like this and whatever other platform we can use. Say like, guys, this is of massive value, and we need to start. I'm a big believer of if you're not uncomfortable with your price, it's too low.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So when clients come to me to work with them on the restaurant or their hotel or the cafe, and I give them I need to feel uncomfortable with that price because then I know I'm actually pushing myself and I know I'm going to step up and really perform. Whereas if I say it's $500 a month, it's going to be devalued. Like they're not going to take me seriously.
They're not going to take you seriously, and you're going to think, oh, just why am I doing this?
Yeah,
'Cause I'm just giving my services away.
Exactly. So I'd be interested to continue this conversation with you, but I want to talk about other things as well. But I really love to see and dive deeper into kind of the mindset that is. And maybe it's a story that I have. Maybe I'm completely off base here, but the mindset of us as a people here on the East Coast, and can we shift it to representing the true value of what we're offering? Because it is world class. It is so untouched as well. Like it's just.
I mean, we have some of the most beautiful scenery, beaches,
artisans,
creators, foods, establishments like I mean, top-notch food.
Yeah.
And I feel like we always kind of had, like you said, the mindset. It's like somebody flashy comes to town and says, "Oh, we're going to do this for you." And we're like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, great. Let's do it." You know, and we give stuff away.
Yeah.
And that starts from,
yeah.
you know, the top down. Like, I mean, why are we giving, you know, these places that come from away and tell us how we should be doing things?
Yeah.
We're like, oh, okay, great. Yeah, here, you have all this and we'll give you these tax breaks. When there's people right here in our community that know what our value is and can make that happen.
Yeah.
Like it's so discouraging because we have such an asset here.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, we're just handing it away and they're walking away saying, oh my God, those people are so dumb. They don't know what they've got down there.
Yeah.
You know, let's go down and see what else we can get.
And going back to the whole, like the plethora of talent here in Nova Scotia as a whole, but on the island too, sitting down with Courtney Smith, who operates Victoria County Creates in Bedeque. She has 120 artists in just her store. Mm-hmm. In just that county. That's not even the province.
No.
In one county. That's just amazing to me. And it's like, again, I'm going to use the words world class. It's world class stuff. Like we need to, I've never been more sure that we need to fly that Nova Scotia flag, like super, super proud.
Exactly.
Big time.
Yeah. And start saying like, listen, this is what we have here. And it's not just the creative industry. I mean, it's other industries that we have up here that are like top notch, and we've got to stop selling ourselves short and giving away like our resources as far as our young people that have to
Yeah.
move away to just to survive.
Yeah.
Like I want to have like my 15-year-old who, I mean, you know, God love him. I mean, he's not the brightest bulb in the world, but you know, for him to come to me and say, you know, there's no future here.
Yeah.
We have a depressed economy. I'm like, who at 15?
Who planted that seed?
Yeah, and I'm like, that wasn't even on my radar when I was 15. Now,
But
mind you, I
these-
grew up in Halifax,
Right.
but this is a new generation. And we have so much opportunity here. And we need the people that can create, like you, for example, like technology. There's no reason with today's technology,
Oh my
we
God.
can't be doing so much more here on our on Cape Breton and
Yeah.
on mainland Nova
Yeah.
Scotia. Like, we've got to stop
Apologizing.
for who we are, where we live, and start saying, you know what? I mean, you go anywhere in the world, and the first thing when people say you're from Atlanta, Canada, or no,
Yeah.
oh, you guys are so friendly.
Yeah. Which I love, which is great.
Exactly.
But can we say, hey, we also have this to sell, and
Yeah.
it's 10 times what you thought it was?
Exactly. Like, why are we still the poor cousins? And
Oh, and
on the map.
I will not even partake in that conversation. I had a buddy of mine, when I told him I was moving back, he lives in New Brunswick. I won't say his name, but you know who you are. He mentioned, like, he said, ha ha ha, the have not province.
Yes,
I was just like, man, just like, let's stop with that.
exactly.
Like we're perpetuating that story ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, pause. No more of that.
Yep.
We are the have province, and we've got an absolute poop ton, crap ton, the S word ton
Yep.
of stuff to offer, and it is awesome.
It is.
We could do a whole podcast on like shifting the mindset in Nova Scotia.
Exactly. But you're right. We always sell ourselves short, and I was like, oh well, you know, but
Don't worry about it. Just
yeah,
take
it's okay.
it.
It's okay. Just take it. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, don't. It's all right. It's all right. And
Yeah.
you know, you're giving yourselves away. And like I tell my vendors here, I'm like, you're giving your product away.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're not accounting for your time. And everyone says, well, you never get your time. I'm just like, yeah, but you have to account for your time.
Yeah.
Like your time is valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Who else is going to work for free? Like we
Yeah.
have to stop that. You know, just being thankful for every little crumb that we
Yeah. No.
have.
No.
Like,
I want the full piece of meat.
Yeah.
And the bone.
And another example of this, when we were doing this renovation up here, like I had people come in, and these were people like in government,
Right.
and they were like, "Oh, are you guys copying the Halifax market?" I'm like, "No, this is our market.
Right.
This is what we have to offer. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why do we have to? We shouldn't be competing with each other. We should be
God, no.
working together
Yeah.
in collaboration.
Yeah.
And like I always say, if we don't all start rowing in the same direction, we're just going to continue to go in circles.
Yeah, I'm a big believer. I always say, probably too much on this podcast as well, the Danny Meyer quote, a rising, it's probably not even his quote, but it's in his book, a rising sea lifts all ships.
Yes.
A rising tide lifts all ships.
Exactly.
Something like that. So and I always preach that, especially to my clients and especially on this podcast, is it's so natural for us, especially in the hospitality industry, to put up walls and have these silos that exist, but it's not helping anybody.
It's not.
Let's knock those silos down through podcasts, through communication, through farmers markets,
Exactly.
through events. Let's be like, hey guys, this is what I do. Can we work together? Can we collaborate? And that's something as well that I saw succeed so well in Vancouver, is the collaboration model with things like restaurants, because there's so many barriers to entry with lease rates and stuff
Right.
in that city.
Yeah.
So there
Very
would be a cafe concept in the day, and then a natural wine bistro concept at night, but two totally different businesses, but they made it work. That to me is very progressive, and where I want to see our industry going from coast to coast to coast in our country is like, how can we knock down those walls and open these conversations up? Farmers, operators, producers, manufacturers, all these people, we need to get them in a room, whether it's once every 2 weeks or once a month or once a year, whatever it is, and facilitate these conversations. So I'm really proud that you're doing what you're doing. And like you said, to use your term, is like you're providing kind of an incubator for these people, which I think is so admirable, and like, shame on us if we don't do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Now, what you're saying, the collaboration. So we're a perfect example of this. So our food area has different chefs and food businesses. So
Oops, sorry.
one of the things that they did when we shut down, so we had to shut down in March, probably middle of March, just before March break, they shut us down. And of course our income stopped. We still have to pay our rent. So we're one of the few markets in the province too that has like commercial rent. So, some of the other municipalities, have given buildings to their farmers market, but we had to say, okay, we've got to keep the bills paid here, or
there's a landlord to pay.
There's a landlord to pay.
Right.
He has bills to pay. So I reached out to our chefs and I was like, listen, we're going to have some fundraising meals, and everybody just said, what can we do to help? Mm-hmm. They came in and they cooked meals. We had, we were calling them Monday market meals. So that was helping us pay our rent. Another vendor ran a marathon and raised money. He helped us pay our rent. And these were all people that were hurting in their own way, but they knew that if this failed, it would really hurt our community. Yeah. So everybody kind of pulled together. But I mean, there's chefs from competing businesses. So we had, the folks from the Mermaid and Selkies. Yeah. I had, Nathan and Bryden from the Gaslight. They come here and it's Nate's Soul Food, Korean. So he jumped in.
Is it Brian or Bryden? I was kind of
Bryden.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Bryden.
I was calling him Bryden. Good. I was like, Bryden. Oh my God, did you say Brian? I feel like an idiot.
And like James McDonald from, they just opened up JJ's Plant-Based Eats.
It's I went there yesterday. I met with.
We have a vegan restaurant
Jeremy.
in Sydney. Yeah. It's beautiful.
It's great. I had the vegan donair. Shout out JJ's. It was actually delicious. I mean, I'm a big donair fan, and I had no idea that it wasn't.
Yeah, and that collaboration was in part
Dr. Luke's in that,
yeah.
or just JJ's. You mean?
Well, no. See, JJ's started from two vegan chefs. So one of them worked for Selkies, who was a vendor here.
Shout out Selkies.
Yeah, and the other one had his own meat and potatoes. So they met here and decided, listen, instead of doing two separate ones, let's join forces and we'll open up our own brick and mortar restaurant.
Look at Cape Breton, so progressive.
It's progressive. And we do a lot of stuff here like that. Yeah. Like a lot of collaborations come out of this, and it doesn't hurt. It helps. And that's what we have to get across to people. Like, stop trying to take the legs out from your neighbor.
Yeah. And that's something I preach as well. And it's very difficult because of the times that we're in, and forget COVID, just it's difficult. It's difficult. Yeah. This industry is difficult, and part of the reason why I think COVID's a good thing, it's causing us all to hit pause and reassess our businesses. I tell all my clients now, like, the first thing we need to do is raise our prices. That's just inevitable because we've been operating on these razor thin margins, and it's made us too vulnerable as an industry. But I try to help my clients and our industry see competition as a good thing, not as a bad thing. Right. And if I see a new coffee shop opening up down from a client's coffee shop, I get excited right away because I don't look at it as a threat for my client. I look at it as a great opportunity for us to have a measuring stick to go, okay, let's see what happens. Yeah. Where are we at?
Can we support?
Yeah, where are we at with our service? Do we need to improve our lighting? Does it need to be cleaner? Like, what's going on? And I always encourage them, like, extend an olive branch right away. Go over and offer them, some of your baked goods and welcome them to the town or the street or whatever it may be. And I think in a city like this, on an island like this, in a province like ours, it is so small that you probably know the person, or the guy's brother or his sister or his mother. Some connection. His mother taught you in school or something. So it's very advantageous for us to, again, rid our industry and our community of these silos and just open up these platforms for collaborative communication, and it's going to move everyone forward so much quicker. Yeah. Oh, I agree. I completely agree. I think, like you said, we have to stop looking at every new thing as a threat. Yeah. Look at it as inspiration.
It's inspiration. And like you said, so if your sales are going down and another person brings the same product to the market, well, then you know what? You have to bring your game up. So it just makes our products that much more marketable and,
better. Raises the game.
It raises the game.
I don't want to,
because you can get stagnant and you can get,
I say that all the time. It's like, you're either creating in your life, in your business, in your relationships, or you're coasting. And it's like, coasting's going to cost you.
Exactly. You can only coast for so long before people are like, you know what?
The fish and chips sucks, dude.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Your toilet's always dirty, dude.
Exactly. So, like, if I can get fresh food for the same price that I'm going to buy, I call it bucket food. Sure. It comes off the back of a truck. Yeah. Why are you not going to serve the fresh stuff? Yeah. And not only that, you're supporting producers in our own. So it's like a circle economy. So it's staying right here, literally.
And I think it's our responsibility, and I'd love to get your take on this, but I think it's our responsibility, especially a business like this, especially a community like this, it is our responsibility. I'm kind of saying yours. It's our responsibility to educate not only our vendors, but the public, the general public, because they don't understand. It's not their fault that our industry is so vulnerable. It's our fault.
Yeah, exactly.
It's our issue that we've been charging too little and saying, oh, this is just what it is. We make 3%. That's all we make. No, like that again is a rhetoric that we've been perpetuating in ourselves for however long. So it's on us to say, hey guys, welcome to the farmer's market. Just so you know, what it took to create that kombucha is X. And if they do care, great. If they don't, that's not your issue. But I guarantee you, if you take the time to educate, especially people that come to farmers markets, they're probably already invested, not only to spend their dollars, but they also want to understand.
Yeah.
And I think what a great opportunity for us to get a captive audience and educate them on this is what it takes to produce this cucumber. This is what it takes to produce whatever it might be.
And you can't compare Walmart to a farmer's market.
No, never.
And this is what I have to get into. People are like, oh, the price is too high. I'm like, okay, well, you think about it for a minute rationally. If they're shipping cucumbers from, say, California or Mexico, and they can sell it to you on the end of that retail chain for 99 cents, someone's not getting paid.
Or if they are, they're getting paid pretty poorly.
Exactly. So you go backwards and figure out how that cucumber got to the shelf at Walmart in Cape Breton from Mexico. And you explain to me how that can now be sold as 99 cents with the travel, with the labor to pick it, the packaging. Like, just think about that for a second. So if you take that same dollar and add 25 cents to it and buy a cucumber that's here from a farmer, guess where your money's staying?
In your community.
It's staying in your community.
There's so much hidden cost with that stuff, and it is just an education. And some people do want to hear it, and some people don't. And we can sit here till we're blue in the face and say why you should shop local. And I think it literally is just a matter of, and hey, I'm totally sensitive to the fact that some people don't have the ability to shop 100% at the farmer's market, and that is okay. And when I make the money I want to make in my life, I'm going to help all of you out as best I can. But it's one thing, like come buy your eggs here. Yeah. Come buy a head of cauliflower here, something, just impact your local community. Yeah, but it all comes down to an education. There's so much hidden costs in the cheaper stuff, but I get it. Like, I'll go to Costco and buy frozen blueberries because our daughter just absolutely destroys frozen blueberries. It just makes more sense that way. But more often than not, I'm looking at, okay, how can we keep the money in our community? And I think that's what we all need to be doing as best we can. Something that I would love to get your take on, and maybe this is even on your radar, maybe it's not, but I thought it was so smart and I was so proud to be a part of it. So through my consulting business, we also have a charitable kind of arm to my company where we host, when things are normal, we host these pop-up dinners with every dinner is a different chef and a different food-based charity and a different farm. So the idea is we sell out this beautiful, whether it's an outdoor venue or indoor venue, sell this out. We charge a ridiculous amount for a 6-course dinner that's extremely high level. And then all that money goes back to a local, which was in Vancouver, a local food-based charity. So the charity had to be feeding the community in some way, shape, or form. And we partnered up at one point with the Vancouver Farmers Market because they had a program. It was called the Vancouver Farmers Market, I just want to say coupon program. But do you know about this?
It's funny because we have a similar project that's based on
that model.
Yeah. It was a pilot project last year, so it's funding for communities with food insecurity. Basically, is what it is.
Underprivileged homes, and
So that was started last year, and it's based on that exact model. You got the association in British Columbia is very progressive. Yeah. And
I'd love to help you guys, and I actually had a podcast with them, so you can listen to the podcast. I met with the whole board. They came on the podcast. I'm happy to send that to you because they really go in depth on what it is and why it exists and who the demographic is, who they find their end users are, and who really needs help. But I was just so proud to be able to donate, and it wasn't my money; it was the people that came to the event, and we just went through us to them. But it was so cool to see how that impacted the local community. So the idea, guys, is essentially the local city or town would identify those who might be in need. And then if you fall within a certain criteria, you could then apply for these, literally these tokens, and these tokens would allow for you to go and buy fresh organic peaches or fresh field greens or whatever it may be that likely weren't that accessible to you if you didn't have that support.
Right.
And it was such a amazing thing to hear the stories of the people that accessed this assistance, and it's just so powerful how something so simple can make people feel so involved and valued and a part of something, because I feel like there's such a disconnect at times.
It is. So when we did the program last year, our market initially didn't get funding. So it's funded from the government. It's provincial dollars right now. So each market got a certain amount. So we weren't originally on the receiving end of that. So what happened last year was that one of the organizations, one of the markets down the South Shore couldn't use all of their funding. So I've been very vocal about we should have been included on that. And so they offered us the money, which was fantastic. So we partnered with, we kind of came to the party late, so we had to kind of act really quick. So we partnered with the Boys and Girls Club down in Whitney Pier. So what happened was each family got $35 worth of coupons. There's no stigma attached to them. They look identical to our gift certificates, and they're handed out to the families. And we saw such an increase in the kids coming here. And it's to break down the stigma too, because this market is for everybody. It's not just for people that, you know,
that earn $100,000
exactly.
a year.
Yeah. This is a true community market, and we want everybody to be part of it. So they came in, and then we started seeing the kids coming in. The club brought them down, you know, a few times, and the kids came around and bought stuff, and they had an absolute ball. And then you saw them bring their parents. So this is another thing where we have to start with that generation, because that generation is what's going to change things. They're going to teach their parents. They're going to teach their grandparents about recycling, about eating local, about, you know, the new ways that we can regenerate our economy. So that's where we have to start.
Yeah. All these things like food waste and food scarcity.
Exactly.
And all these topics that,
you know, kids will call you to task on something about recycling, or, you know, we've had vendors being called out by kids saying, you know, is that a compostable cup? You know, and they're serious.
Yeah. I love it. And they're so impressionable. And this is when we need to be like your 15-year-old son. Oh my gosh. I swear our 2-year-old is an alien, but she just like downloads everything. It's crazy. If she doesn't end up being a brain surgeon, I don't know what she's going to do. I think I'm just a really proud dad. But you know what? Let's hit pause quickly, go and reset the cameras and come right back. I want to hear more about your vendors. We're going to highlight a few of them if we can. And then I have for Pauline a bit of a task to finish a sentence that I've asked every guest on the podcast here in Cape Breton to finish for me. I know she'll do great.
Okay.
We'll be right back,
Perfect.
guys.
Thanks.
Oh, I had a little weird little throat thing there. Okay, guys, we are back, and I admittedly was getting super parched, so I asked Pauline if I could grab some kombucha from the fridge. So a quick shout out to Pebble and Fern Market Garden and their blueberry ginger. They're naturally sparkling fermented tea. It's really good. Tastes delicious. There's a lot of blueberries in there, but it's really nice. So thank you guys for making this awesome product. So yeah, let's change speeds a bit. We've basically solved all the world's problems already.
Pretty much, yeah.
So don't worry about it, world. We got you. Brad and Pauline are here to save the world.
We're on the case.
Yeah. I'm just super intrigued to hear more about the actual market. And because our listeners are from all over the world, paint a picture for me and the listeners when things are quote unquote normal. If we were to close our eyes, like walk us through the market, what are we seeing? What are we smelling? What are we hearing? Like, what's going on when it's busy?
So when we're up and running, we open on Saturdays from 8:30 until 2 o'clock. And we can get anywhere from 800 to 1,500-1,600 people through the door every day. Our opening day, we saw just under 2,400 people through the door.
What's the population in Sydney? Ballpark.
We CBRM, so I think we're probably just under 100,000.
Okay.
But that includes
stretching out.
Yeah, stretching out.
So we're getting a good portion of the population.
We're getting a good portion. Yeah. Like that first day we opened, we weren't sure what to expect because a lot of people weren't jazzed about us moving downtown because we were losing some parking, But the first day, I mean, we closed the door and it was like, like, okay, we did something right.
It was like running a service at a restaurant. You just got slammed.
Yeah, you got slammed. And we had been closed for 3 months prior to reopening because, of course, we ran into some construction problems, delays,
yeah.
and we did a lot of this work ourselves to save on costs. So we ended up paying rent on 2 different spaces for about 3 months. And we were like, okay, we just can't maintain this. So we closed down for 3 months. We thought, you know, it only takes a few weeks for people to get into a new habit and going to a new venue. So when people came back, we were thrilled. So you come into our main lobby and you're greeted automatically by someone here. Now we do sell 50/50 tickets in the lobby as part of our fundraiser, but there's no pressure.
Yeah.
You know, you come in, you don't have to buy them.
But if you don't want to win free money, what's your issue?
I know, and support local. And everybody in Cape Breton loves 50/50s.
Yeah, and
that's
Chase
the Ace. Yeah,
gosh.
that's our thing up here.
Look it up, guys, if you don't know what Chase the Ace is.
We could save our whole economy just by having 50/50s island-wide every week.
Yeah.
So we have our markets divided into 2 spaces. So this was the Smooth Herman's Cabaret. So anyone that's from Cape Breton that's moved away, that is in the age range of maybe 40 and up, would probably have been here.
Smooth Herman's?
Smooth Herman's, yeah.
Cabaret.
It was the nightclub in Sydney. So this is where you would hear Matt Minglewood. This is where you would hear all the up-and-coming bands from the area. So it closed down in 2010, and it sat empty.
Oh.
So we renovated it, and we took it right back to the bare bones and, you know,
turned it into a market.
So
it was a meat market before.
It was a meat market before. Now you can still get meat, just a different kind.
That's too funny.
And so you can either go upstairs, which is our food area. So you would turn right. So that's where all of our prepared food vendors are. So when we built this place down here, one of the things we wanted to have is everyone have their own standalone booth that was able to meet or exceed the requirements for the Department of Environment for health safety. So that was really number one for us, because another thing with collaboration, if someone were to get sick on something here because of, it wouldn't just be, I got sick from, you know, XYZ. It would be, I got sick at the farmer's market.
Yeah.
So now I have not just one business that's hurting. I've got like 60 of them. So that was a big thing for us. So we have all of our prepared food vendors upstairs, and you can get anything from breakfast to supper to fresh seafood, baked goods, coffee, tea, bratwurst, you name it. It's up there. We have quite a variety. And our eating area is up there. So we have people that will come. You'll have the grandparents. They'll meet the kids. They'll meet the grandkids. And everybody comes here on a day.
Oh, that's awesome.
So our clientele is from newborns to people that are almost 100. One of our vendors here is 92.
Let's give her him or her.
That's Norma.
I knew it was the woman.
Yeah, so
only a woman would have the energy and the power and the backbone to do that.
She still quilts and she still makes candles. So Norma Skinner, if you happen to see
this,
shout out
Norma, keep doing it, girl.
Yep. So Norma's been with us for a few years, and I think she's quite the gal.
That's awesome.
So in our lower level is all of our artisans, our crafters, our farmers, egg producers. We have Breton Brewing. They have a stall here. The local
Shout out
brewery.
Breton.
Yeah, Breton. And Jill with her cidery down the north end, Island Folk Cider. So Jill was going to come with us as a vendor too.
Okay.
Of course, COVID shut everything down. So we're still hoping to have them come back in when we reopen back up so that people can do tastings, because she's got great product down there. And it's all made with local Nova Scotia apples.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and she collaborates with other growers up here for specialty items like, with a honey infused, rhubarb kind of thing, different flavors.
Innovative.
So very innovative, and it's all local.
Love that.
So, I mean, there's another prime example.
Is there anyone else that you feel you want to take this platform and highlight? We talked about Norma holding it down at 92, doing what she does. Anyone else you feel like you want to, obviously you want to say everyone.
Yeah. So a few people I want to give a shout out to that really kind of put their heart and soul into this renovation. Paul Moore and his wife Margie and his son Ian, they're vendors here. They do jewelry, and they really did a lot to make this place. I mean, Paul, you look at this store, this is Paul. Paul did this.
Oh, wow.
This table that we're sitting at, this is reclaimed wood from the cabaret. So this was all on the walls. And when we renovated, I knew I wanted to keep it. Yeah. So I did a lot of dumpster diving when we were building this place. Yeah. So this is the wooden walls that were in smooth Hermans. He's
So
taken them
cool.
and made them into different products that we sell as a fundraiser. That whole back wall you see there is
Oh,
all
yeah,
smooth Hermans wood.
reclaimed,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's all reclaimed wood. We did a lot of reclaiming. One, because it's environmentally friendly, and two, because we didn't have a lot of money. So
Yeah.
we had to...
And it's just like a nice way to pay a little
It is.
homage to good old smooth
Yeah.
Herman.
I mean, a lot of people have, most people will walk in here and they're like, okay, I remember this place. There were stairs
Right,
here. I
right.
fell down here,
Yeah.
or I met my wife,
dropped
or I
a
met my
drink. I dropped
husband.
a drink
I dropped a
there.
drink, yeah.
Sorry, what was the name of the jewelry business?
So it was Sea, Sand, and Moore. So it was Paul and Margie Moore and their son Ian. So they've done a lot to help get this place where it is. And Steve Smith from Bungalow Beans.
Bungalow or bungalow?
Bungalow, as
B.
in, yeah, bungalow.
Okay.
As in what you call your summer
Yes.
cottages up here.
Yeah.
But they live on Bungalow Road, so that's where the name
Okay.
came.
Bungalow beans. It's coffee or is it
It's
beans?
coffee, yeah.
Okay.
He roasts, he imports green coffee beans.
Nice.
Roasts them here, and he does, he also has a little camper, the Bungalow Beans coffee
Oh,
camper.
smart. Does he pull that up here?
He does it to different events. He has his own
Oh,
stall
okay.
here.
Oh, got you.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, shout out to them. If I'm missing anybody, I apologize.
Well, there's probably
I
a lot of
know-
people.
Yeah,
but
there's a lot of people.
I'm putting you
that-
on the spot.
Yeah.
Is there a way if our listeners and viewers want to have a peek under the tent of what goes on here? Is there a website where you list all the vendors?
Yeah, we have a website, CB Farmers Market,
Awesome.
and just go on and take a look at there. Our vendors are on. It'll tell you who's here, who's selling what. And,
Perfect. Yeah, get on there, educate yourselves, people.
Yeah, exactly. And so, any given day, people are walking through. We have lots of kids here. We do kids crafts activities on Saturday. We always bring in local musicians to play
Yeah.
from 10 until 12. So you'll,
A little bit of entertainment.
Yeah, and I mean, we have some really good musicians.
Yeah, we're again with talking about the amount of talent in this province. Man, music talent too, especially in Cape Breton.
Oh yeah.
Musical talent here is crazy.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, you
And,
look down the boardwalk. There's a violin the size of Texas down there. So it's just like a fiddle. Yeah.
fiddle.
Oh God, I called it a violin. I'm gonna get burned on my way out of town. Fiddle. The fiddle.
You're getting run out of here.
What is the same thing though, isn't it?
I think so.
I think
Now,
it's just how you play it.
even though my name's Singer, I have no musical ability whatsoever. So I think it's the same thing, but
Okay.
I'd have to ask one of
Yeah.
our
Don't tell
experts.
anyone.
Yeah.
Don't tell anyone
Exactly.
that I'm born here. I am a blue noser, and I said violin. Maybe I'm
Big
too.
violin.
I've been jaded by the sophisticated West Coast. The big fiddle. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yep.
So the sentence that I have decided to challenge everyone with on this trip, and the reason I'm on this trip is because I genuinely want to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I want to learn what's been going on while I've been gone. I want to learn what's been going on. I want to learn what's happening, and I want to learn where it's going. So the sentence I have for you, Pauline, to finish for me, if you would, is this: Cape Breton is blank.
Cape Breton is just starting to hit its stride.
Oh, I like that. In 2020.
Yeah, in 2020. I think we're seeing a real shift in our community, and I think we're seeing a real shift in the mindset of people that they know they're starting to see what the value is we have here.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things that we've never had before, cruise ships have always been the toted thing for the last number of years. There's none this year. And I don't know when that industry is going to rebound to the point where it was pre-COVID, if it will ever rebound.
Right. Yeah.
So I think if you're not constantly shifting and changing your business plan or the way you do things or your mindset, then you're not going to go anywhere. You're just going to stay stagnant. So I think with this, what I hope is that we're hitting our stride and we're saying, you know what, we have a lot to offer and we have to stop selling ourselves short. We have a great local economy that can only grow from this. I really want people to put value on what they do. And I'm the biggest, offender of that as well. Because, I work for little or nothing, but,
Right.
But it's because I want to see this succeed. It's, and everybody in here, that's part of our farmers market family, they all contribute so much. We had to rely on different strengths of our vendors. Like we have, who does graphic design here on the side, who can do this, who can do that. And, they'll just jump on board and everybody will chip in. And I think if we get back to that kind of grassroots, and that's where it's happening, it's grassroots.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's not like the big things.
Yeah, no offense to government and
Yeah.
big corporations. Those are big ships that take a while to turn around.
Exactly. But we can shift really quick. And I think the more the small businesses work together and we can come up with stuff, like we're trying to come up with ideas now to help all of us through this. Like, we got to all jump on board here, folks, and start promoting each other. And, because this is it for us for a few years.
Yeah.
Like there's no big...
No one's coming to
No
save us.
one's coming to save us. And that's what I've said from the beginning. I said, no one's coming to save us. We've got to save ourselves.
Yeah, and let's stop complaining. Let's stop this soft talk. Like, "Oh, I don't know if I can," or you know what? If you don't know you can, you can't.
No.
It's like, are we doing it or are we not?
Like
Let's
I always
go.
say, like lead, follow, or get out of the way. Because
Yeah.
if you're not jumping on board and going to help, don't sit there and complain and hold people back that are trying to facilitate change up here. Like just let them do their thing. We've tried, XYZ for so many years. It's not working.
Yeah, let's do
It's
something
not
different.
working. Let's try something else. Like we don't have to do the same thing we've done for the last, 30 years.
Yeah, I've said that. I've had a few meetings, and I won't say with what bodies, but I said, like, if you guys aren't going to do this, I'm going to put this industry on my back, and I'm going to say, let's go.
Yep.
And I'll be that person. I will
Exactly.
drive myself into the ground because I'm that passionate about it, and I want it to succeed, similar to what you're saying. Now, I want to get paid, too, and I'm going to ask for, and I'm going to take what I deserve.
Yep.
And I'm not going to apologize about it, but I promise you, if you can get on my level,
You're getting value.
we're going somewhere,
Yeah,
and we're going to be put on a map. And I know we can do that, and I'm excited by that. And it literally, like, gives me goosebumps just talking about it, and then it gives me goosebumps coming back to this province and just seeing, like, man, the passion and the talent and the
potential that we
and
have
the
here.
potential. It's just like, guys, we got to look in the mirror,
Yep.
and just be like, man, like, I don't know if you're a fan of Drake, the rapper from Ontario, but in one of his songs, he says, know your value, know your worth. And I feel like that should almost be on our license plates just for a bit.
Exactly.
We'll put Canada's Ocean Playground back, but right now it's know our value, know our worth.
Yep.
And if you and I can be the canary in the mine shaft for these people, I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll
Exactly.
challenge the status quo.
Well, that's just it. And it's all about challenging and pushing boundaries. Like, well, why aren't we doing this?
Yeah.
Well,
Why aren't we doing a podcast?
Yeah.
Why aren't we looking at different ways to market us? Like, let's just think outside of the
like
box.
I hear so many excuses of why we can't do stuff. I'm like, well, no, that's all fixable stuff.
Yeah.
And just because you did something like 20 years ago and it was tanked,
Yeah.
like, well, you know what? The environment's different
Yeah.
now. We have shifted up here. Like businesses that are like just booming right now
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have 20 years ago.
Right. But it's
there's-
different.
It's different now.
Yeah.
Like you've got to keep evolving. And, I'm so tired up here of, everybody trying to put, anyway, I don't want to turn this into a big
No.
platform
Yeah.
of government, but like we got to stop putting all our eggs into one basket.
Right.
That is something that worked in the past.
Yeah.
That's not going to work anymore.
Yeah.
I'm 50. I don't know how you
38.
38. So like your generation is even different from what my generation was. Like you guys are so much more on like the technology, even my own kids, like I'm blown away
Oh
at
my
the
God,
stuff
yeah.
that they can do.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's crazy what 15-year-old kids can do.
yeah.
They'd be able to come in here and do 10 times what I'm doing with this stuff.
And I'm thinking, why aren't we channeling that stuff? Like there's no reason why we can't have industry like that up here. We don't need transportation. We don't,
Right.
They could be blowing the socks off something right up here. And
Yeah.
same as in the mainland, like we've got to stop
Yeah.
shipping all of our,
Well, there's fear of the unknown. There's comfort in doing what we know. But I just said this quote this morning when I sat down with the team at Gaslight. I said, we were talking about the importance of getting uncomfortable, the importance of growth, and how you need to stretch, and it needs to be painful. And it's a Ralph Waldo Emerson quote, and it's people wish to be settled, but only so much as they're unsettled is there any hope for them.
mm-hmm.
And that it's not tattooed on my body, but it probably should be, because I believe in that so wholeheartedly. Like, if there's a phone call I don't want to make, guess what I do? I make it right away.
Yep.
If my phone rings, I see it's someone I don't want to talk to, guess what I do? I answer it right away.
Get over with.
If I know my wife's going to be mad at me about having a certain conversation, guess what I do? Have that conversation. Like, I chase that because I know that when I step into that, then there's just like so much potential, so much beauty, and then I grow so much.
Yep.
And that's why I want to encourage our industry, our small businesses, our government to do as well. Is like, guys, like, let's chase down a
We've
little
got to
bit.
step outside of the comfort zone and get out of that box that we've been stuck in for so many years, because it's not good enough anymore.
Yeah.
It's not good enough. I'm tired. I don't want to have to work 3 jobs to survive up here.
No.
Like,
And you shouldn't have to.
No, exactly. I want, if my kids want to move away, great. But if they want to come back, I want them to have something to come back to.
Right.
Like, not just, come back and visit at Christmas and summer times. Like, I mean,
You can build something here.
You can build something here and you can stay here.
Yeah.
And why not? Why can't our young people do that?
Yeah, and I think to your point a little bit earlier, talking about rebuilding this place out and making it look the way it does, which is beautiful, by the way. Oh, yeah, if you guys are on the audio version, head over to YouTube as well. You can get a peek into what is the now, which is the market, because the market's closed with COVID, but this is their shop. So you have a bunch of smaller items in here, and kombucha as well. But what you've built and what you have is so much social capital. Mm-hmm. So I like to say, like, shame on us if we don't use that social capital. Like, that's valuable stuff, right? If you know these people and we can all help each other, that's a lot more valuable than spending some dollars. So,
and people want to help. People want to feel
especially
involved.
This industry.
Exactly. And they want to feel valued. If you can say, listen, I don't want to bug you. I know you're busy, but do you mind? And people are like, yeah, I wouldn't.
I'd love to be part of that.
I'd love to be part of that.
Yeah.
And that's the same with here. I mean, I've asked, long-time customers, I'm like, listen, I just have to run out. Do you mind watching the 50? Oh, yeah, great. No problem. I don't mind doing that. Like it makes them feel part of it. And we want them to feel part of it. This is community.
I think we all need to understand that, at least my understanding of, like, part of our makeup as humans, no matter the race, the creed, sexuality, nothing, like, what drives us is serving others and contributing.
Yes.
So find your way
to contribute,
to serve others and contribute, and it will fulfill you to no end. And like, for me, this is what this podcast is for me. This podcast gives me so much. I'm going to leave here and feel so high for the next hour on this. It just serves me so much, but it also gives a great opportunity for my listeners to learn about you and what goes here in the Cape Breton Farmers Market. It gives you a great opportunity to kind of tell your story. And I just know that this is value because it makes me feel so good, but I'm also serving and contributing. And I think we all need to take a look at our days, weeks, months, years, quarters, and say, like, am I contributing? Am I serving? And how?
And some people may not even know their own worth to contribute.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it doesn't have to be a great big gesture. It could be something small, but I mean, at least do something, like,
especially in your local community.
Exactly.
Find a way to give back. There's something else I wanted to ask you that wasn't these questions, but these ones are important too. Damn, it escapes me, which doesn't happen often. I'm not usually lost for words.
I think because I have you going in all different
No,
directions.
like I said, you're doing awesome. I'm really enjoying it. That's all right. So the podcast is called the Half a Dozen Hospitality Podcast. I didn't forget what it was called. So I have for you, Pauline, if you will, help me with the last 2 questions. The first one is the half a dozen have-tos. Stay with me here. Mm-hmm. I need from you 1 to 6 items. So you can give me 1, or you can go all the way to 6 if you want, or you can do 2 or 3, of things you experienced in your life that you feel like our listeners have to experience, whether it is a trip you've taken, a meal you've eaten, a book you've read, a piece of art you've stared at, a song you've listened to, a meditation you've done, a yoga class you've been to, whatever it is. 1 to 6 items that you feel like our listeners have to do.
I think you have to go to Ingonish at some point in your life.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's one of the most beautiful places on earth, I think, for the raw scenery and just the unspoiled landscape. It's just, as soon as you go over Smoky, it's just like, you just kind of relax. You can't help it. And that is another area that's going over a lot of growth in the next little while. Another thing you have to do. My brother lives in Australia. He's with the Australian Navy. He retired from the Canadian Navy, and he now lives in Australia, in Perth, with his wife and their son. And I went over in 2018 with my kids, my 2 kids, and my mother. And it was probably one of the most amazing trips. That first time my kids were ever on a plane. So we left Sydney and landed in Sydney. And they were just amazed. And it was just stunning, just breathtaking, the scenery over there.
Yeah, it's a special part of the world, especially when it comes to even like this industry, like the culinary scene over there, the coffee scene over there. It's amazing.
Yeah, just, I mean, the beaches, it was just, stunning. And I also think something that you need to experience once in your life, I think you have to experience some kind of hardship, whether it be financial. I think you have to have something that kind of brings you down to earth. And I don't mean to say that in a derogatory way, but I think if things come too easy to you, you don't value them.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I think, and I instill this in my kids too. Like, they'll come up with things. Well, that's not fair. I'm like, well, that's life. You better learn.
Yeah. Who told anyone this is easy or fair?
Yeah. Like, you better learn this lesson now, or else you're going to be in for a shock when you get out on your own in your 20s and this happens to you.
Yeah.
Like, you need to build a tough skin.
You get unsettled.
You need to get unsettled, and you need to have your world shaken up a little bit to say, you know what? Bad stuff can happen, and it's not always going to go my way.
And it isn't always bad.
And it isn't always bad. Sometimes it can shake you up in a different way.
Generally, it's always good because it ends up putting you where you're at.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You don't know where life's going to take you, and sometimes you may think it's a door closing when actually it's another opportunity that's going to present itself.
Yeah. Like I always say, like, old roads don't get you to new destinations.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And and like you said, I think it's really pushing yourself outside of your boundaries. But those would be the things, like, that would be the key thing that I think would be that you really have to kind of shake things up. And
some sandpaper in our lives is good.
yes.
And hey, you can find some sandpaper in Nova Scotia. There's some tough situations out here. You want to get uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Come out here in the winter. We'll show you uncomfortable.
Exactly.
The last one I have for you, Pauline, is the same idea, but it's the half a dozen haven't yet. So 1 to 6 items, things you've yet to do in your life that you want to do. Kind of a bucket list question, if you will.
Okay.
So you can do 1 or you can go all the way to 6.
There's a few bucket list things that I have, and some of them pertain to this. Like, one of the things I want to see happen in Cape Breton, from a business point of view, I want to see us get our own processing facility up here. Because one of the things that is harmful to our producers is that any meat that's grown, raised up here, we have to ship it off island to get it processed. And then it gets packaged
broken, eh?
and shipped back. So you, again, think of the process and what that adds to their cost. And there's no reason why we can't have one up here.
Right.
I get lots of things why we
local
can't
government,
have them.
Local government, if you're listening, and I know you're listening, come on, guys.
Because I'm going to come after you for this.
Yeah, Pauline's coming, and guess what? You're going to get real uncomfortable.
Yeah. I'm coming. This is going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing, I want to see, one of the things on my bucket list too is I want to see more collaboration up here, because I'm tired of the status quo and the cliques and everybody kind of having a secret agenda. Right. I want people to put their cards on the table. I want you to say, listen, this is
who I am. This is what I do.
This is what I want. Like, I think we have so many problems up here locally because things aren't addressed up front.
Yeah.
People are more likely to value a decision, good or bad, if you include them in that conversation. Like, listen, we know this is tough. Yeah.
Crappy.
Trying not to swear.
Shitty's okay. You can say shitty.
Yeah. We know this is shitty, but these are the reasons why we have to do it. And most times people are like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I get that. I understand. But when you do stuff and just kind of jam it down people's throats and say, listen, we're doing this with no explanation, no lead up. No education. People get their backs up. And we have a lot of problems around that. And that's got to stop. You've got to come out and say, listen, here's the deal. This is what our goal is. This is what we need to achieve to get to that goal. But get a plan and explain it to people.
Yeah.
Involve people. Too many times decisions are made with the wrong people around the table. And that's got to stop. You're making decisions that affect people without including the people that are affected into the conversation. Yeah.
Well, it sounds to me like you have the right head on your shoulders, and it sounds to me like you're the right person to be doing what you do and facilitating these conversations and facilitating this growth. And I'm excited to, keep an eye on what goes on here. And I'm excited as well to help out how I can. Because as much as Cape Breton, I don't know if you agree with this, but I feel at times Cape Breton kind of identifies themselves as like their own thing, like not Nova Scotia. It's like,
and I don't agree with that. I know there's lots of people that are on this bandwagon of separating from the mainland. No, I don't agree with that.
Yeah, we're all from Nova Scotia.
We're all from Nova Scotia. And we have our own uniqueness up here because
it's unique.
It's unique.
Yeah.
We've got to own that. But I don't think fighting with the mainland is the way to go. We need to all band together.
Yeah, come together.
So I know this is going to catch a lot of flack from people, but the people that are for separation, I don't agree with that. I think you're going to get more from working together.
Yeah, always.
And, get the people around the table that are affected the same way we are. I mean, we're not the only people in rural Nova Scotia that are hurting.
Yeah.
There's lots of communities. Let's start working together with them.
Mm-hmm.
There's different ideas, and everybody brings something to the table, even if they don't think they are.
Yeah, everyone has something to offer.
Yeah, I mean, these are the kind of conversations that get things done. Like someone will come up with something, you're like, you know what? Yeah, I never thought of that. That's a great idea.
And I think to that point as well, like we need to as leaders in our communities, and that's what I'm calling you right now, and believe that you are. We need to make sure that we are providing an open dialogue so people feel comfortable to come to us and say, this may be a stupid idea. And then we say, like, there's no stupid ideas. Like, bring it to us. None. Let us know. And yeah, I think everyone deserves to have a voice, especially in 2020.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, youth, seniors, like everybody has value to bring in. I mean, we've got to stop dismissing people because of maybe
A, B, or C.
Yeah, A, B, or C. I mean, everybody has something to contribute. And this is why, like, we're a cooperative. So, if we didn't work together here, this wouldn't...
No luck for anything.
I mean, we would still be sitting in the old Smooth Hermans, the closed down building. And for any capers that are living away, we're actually in the old co-check room. So
yeah, so actually, Doug, your jacket is in here. You left it for 1982. It's still here.
I've got it in the office.
It's
just
in the office.
Shows. Yeah,
yeah. Your keys are in there if you're still locked out of your place.
Yeah, and some old smokes.
some old smokes. Yeah, that's probably a good place to shut it down.
Shut it down. Okay.
I want to say thank you again so much for sharing your time with me and the listeners. It's been fun, and I think we could probably do another 3 hours.
I think so too.
But you've got a shop to open up.
Yeah, I have to open the store.
And I've got editing to do, and I got some sightseeing. So you want to go visit more of this beautiful part of the province. But I want to say again, thank you so much for your time, and I want to say I'm extremely excited, sincerely, to see what you do with your vision and what you do with your social capital. And if I can be of any assistance, whether it's with the podcast or with my consulting work, please reach out anytime. I'd be more than happy to help.
I will.
However I can.
I really enjoyed this. This was great.
You did awesome. Yeah, and I want to thank you guys for tuning in as you do week after week. If people do want to reach out and find out more about the farmers market, whether they're in the Atlantic bubble or outside or wherever they are, how best they find out?
They can reach us through our Facebook page, or they can send an email through our webpage as well. So if you just Google Cape Breton Farmers Market, and you can just click on either one and message us through there. Or if you want to old-fashioned call us, the number's there, and you can do that as well.
There you go. And I bet you Pauline probably answers the phone.
Probably.
Thank you guys again for tuning in as you do week after week. If it wasn't for you, this show wouldn't exist. That is Pauline. I am Brad. This is the Half a Dozen Hospitality Podcast. You guys know what to do. Until next time, be good and do good. We did it. Well done.
Thanks.
You did awesome. You did so great.
Thank you very much.